this crowd has always been passionate. And that's what makes Fancy Farm famous. Cheer for your candidates, wave your signs, boo when you disagree, laugh at the jokes. That's all part of the tradition. But if there's a coordinated, continuous chant or organized effort to intentionally drown out a speaker so that they cannot be heard, I will stop the program. We will wait until order is restored before anyone continues. Everyone here that has been invited has earned the opportunity to address this crowd, whether you agree with them or not. Fancy Farm has never been about silencing voices, but about hearing them. So let's show the rest of the country why this little community in Western Kentucky continues to host one of the greatest political traditions in America. Now, I would like to invite the Most Reverend Bishop Medley of our Diocese of Owensboro to the microphone for our invocation. Bishop Medley.
Thank you, and it's an honor to call this gathering, this assembly, to prayer. Let us pray. Almighty and eternal God, you have revealed your glory to all the nations. God of power and might, wisdom and strength, justice, through your authority is authority is rightly ministered. Laws are enacted and judgment is decreed. Bless, Lord, the people of St. Jerome and Fancy Farm, who today welcome to their community tens of thousands. May the welcome and food their guests receive here nourish both their bodies and their spirits. May all be greeted here as Christ. Let the light of your divine wisdom direct the discourse of all who would be public servants. Bless them, Lord, for their generosity and willingness to serve in the public realm and protect them from uncharitable scrutiny. We pray for the President of the United States and all members of Congress. We pray for the Governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky and members of the state legislature. We pray for local leaders and all servants. May all who seek to preserve peace promote the common good and happiness and continue to bring the blessings of liberty and equality to all who have been created as children of one God and one Creator. Bless the citizens of our nation that we may prosper in the knowledge of God's ways and be sanctified in observance of your holy law. May we be preserved in union and that peace which the world cannot give. Bless, Lord, those men and women who serve our nation, particularly those today who serve in armed conflict. Bless in an extraordinary way those called to be leaders of state, of education, and churches, to call all our people to sacrifice for the common good as our community, our nation, and the world strives to bring healing from all that unites us. Bless healthcare workers and scientists that they show your wisdom and your charity. We trust, dear God, that you are the way, the truth, and the life that will lead us to peace and wellness. Bless and comfort all victims of war. Keep them safe from harm. May each of us be instruments of peace, that the day may come that conflicts need not be resolved by violence. Bless the poor of our nation and the world. Never let us forget, Lord, that these are our sisters and brothers, and the bounty of your creation is intended for all. Lord, let charity prevail here today, that everything we say and everything we do may serve to build up your kingdom of justice, light, and truth. We speak our humble prayer in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Bishop Medley. This year's singing of the national anthem will be Maddie Wilson. Maddie is the daughter of Everett and Jenny Sue Wilson. She is a 2025 graduate of the Graves County High School, is currently attending Murray State University, majoring in nursing. She and her family have been involved for generations here at the Fancy Farm Picnic. You may have found her serving lunch behind us at the Fellowship Hall. Please welcome Maddie.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, you might want to stay standing because next I want to invite Reed Wheeler to come forth and play and sing My Old Kentucky Home. Reed just graduated from Mayfield High School, and he's also going to Murray State University to pursue a career in mechanical engineering. Reed, the stage is yours.
Move that microphone. All right. The sun shines bright on my old Kentucky home. 'Tis summer, the people are gay. The corn tops ripe and the meadows in the bloom, while the birds make music all the day. The young folks roll on the little cabin floor, all merry, all happy and bright. By and by hard times come a-knocking at the door, and my old Kentucky home, good night. Weep no more, my lady, oh, weep no more today. We will sing one song for the old Kentucky home, for the old Kentucky home far away, for the old Kentucky home far away.
All right, let's give both of our musicians here in Graves County another round of applause. Now, I'd like to take a moment just to recognize someone who has been an important part of the history of the picnic for many decades. Today, Senator Mitch McConnell is unable to join us. For generations, Senator McConnell has made this trip to Fancy Farm, standing on this stage, engaging in the spirited tradition that has made this gathering unlike any other in America. Regardless of party or political viewpoint, few individuals have had a greater impact on Kentucky's voice in Washington and have devoted more years of public service on behalf of the Commonwealth. From the community of Fancy Farm and the people gathered here today, we extend our gratitude to Senator McConnell for his years of faithful service to Kentucky and our nation. We wish him and Elaine all the very best, and we hope you will join me in thanking him and Senator McConnell with a warm round of applause. Thank you all. Now, I didn't figure that would get the whole crowd standing, so maybe this one will. There are people who cover the Fancy Farm Picnic, and then there are people who become part of the family of Fancy Farm. Renee Shaw is one of those people. For almost 3 decades, through countless interviews, long days under the hot August sun, and years of telling Kentucky's story, she became more than a respected journalist. She became a true friend. Her kindness, professionalism, deep respect for this tradition has never gone unnoticed. Renee, wherever you're watching from, thank you for your friendship and for helping tell the Fancy Farm story with honesty, grace, and heart. We are better because you were a part of it. Please join me in thanking Renee Shaw and KET for their years of dedicated service to our picnic. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce our Master of Ceremonies. For more than 4 decades, Dave "Buzz" Baker has been one of the most recognizable and respected broadcasters in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. During his remarkable 44-year career at WKYT in Lexington, Dave has informed, entertained, and connected Kentuckians through sports, news, and special events. Today, you will find him co-hosting Everyday Kentucky and the Afternoon Buzz, where his passion for the people and stories of our Commonwealth continues to shine. Dave's excellence in broadcasting earned him induction into the Kentucky Broadcasters Association Hall of Fame and the prestigious Golden Mike Award. Beyond television, he devoted countless hours to serving Kentucky through community leadership, education, and charitable organizations, reflecting the same integrity and commitment that have defined his career. We are grateful that he's once again lending those talents to Kentucky's greatest traditions. Please join me in giving a warm Fancy Farm welcome to our MC for today's program, Mr. Dave "Buzz" Baker.
Thank you all very much. Let's hear it for Fancy Farm. This is not only one of Kentucky's greatest traditions, it's one of America's greatest traditions. And since I'm from WKYT TV in Lexington, we're part of the great television family. We have 9 stations around the state that touch all corners of the state. And so we have got people. I want to join Stephen in thanking KET. Spectrum is here today. Fox 56 is here today. We're streaming on WKYT, probably on our other gray stations as well. I understand we've got people here from the New York Times, from the Wall Street Journal, all over the place. This is where it happens, and nobody does great political discourse better than the people of the Commonwealth at Fancy Farm. You know, there are church picnics and county fairs, but there's only one Fancy Farm. Think about this. And I heard Stephen say this yesterday. I believe he was doing an interview with WHAS, who's streaming as well, that this is the only place in the country where Republicans and Democrats come together on the same stage. And I think that is to be applauded. Let's hear it there. I will say, though, that if any of you are getting a little tired from standing, there is more room here on the Democrat side than there is on the Republican side. I don't mind this. Our season Sweet 16 tickets have been right next to Rocky for years, so we've been watching games and commiserating, and I'm just honored to be here because I know everybody except 1 or 2 people that are on this stage, and I think there is nothing more noble, nothing that is more admirable these days than public service. I mean, it's tough. You're away from your family, you're missing things, and let's give everybody who's up here a round of applause if we could. Being a political science major with a minor in history at Georgetown College, it was instantaneous. I developed a love for doing this thing. I had the greatest college experience. If you want this experience too, you can come to Georgetown College. My last semester, I took coaching and officiating football by appointment, and I worked in the WKYT Frankfurt Bureau during a 1982 legislative session. And I fell in love with it, and that love has not subsided. And now I have a partner who shares that love and belief in community service. And I would now like to ask the gentleman from McCracken to come forward to make our first introduction.
Thank you very much, my dear friend Buzz. My favorite thing to do, as many people know, as Majority Leader, is make the motion to override gubernatorial vetoes. But my second favorite thing to do in this job is to make an announcement whenever we have messages from down the hallway. So, Mr. Baker and people of Fancy Farm, please make welcome the Clerk of the Senate.
This is my wife, Donna Gale, who knows how to win over a crowd by being the clerk of the Senate and drinking Sun Pop. I could not have done this without her. Thank you. Okay, as Steve said earlier, couldn't happen without an incredible group of volunteers. He thanked those folks, and Steve Elder is a true force of nature in his own right. I'm told that we have a record crowd of speakers here that are ready to hear what they have to say about the Commonwealth beloved. So before we begin, I'd like to take a moment. I just want to say one personal thing about Senator McConnell as well. Everybody's got an opinion about Senator McConnell, and I know that nobody is indifferent about him. I know him as a senator, but I just know him as a person more than anything else. Guy loves sports, and we've talked for hours about baseball. Big baseball guy, big Nationals guy. Obviously, you see him a lot at U of L games, but he's the kind of person you want to have around. And I'll give you my own personal experience. When I got the word that I was no longer going to be a part of the UK Sports Network after 37 and a half years, after I did my last game, I was sitting at my office desk and a 202 number pops up. And I didn't recognize it. And I pick up the phone and the voice says, "Well, what are you going to do now?" And it was Senator McConnell, who just took time out of his day to talk to a friend that he knew was not having a good day. He always said he wanted Kentuckians to punch above their weight, and by golly, he did that. I think it's $65 billion in projects that he's brought back to the Commonwealth. As the longest-serving leader in Senate history, he had a favorite state in flyover country that he looked out for with a great passion, and that is the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Thank you, Senator McConnell. We hope we all do you proud today. All right, now speaking of politicians, there are some who aren't here today. Thomas Massey. He said on election night that he couldn't get out to concede because it was difficult to find his opponent Ed Galrine in Israel. Well, it didn't take Donald Trump long to find Massey living off the grid in northern Kentucky. Okay, and I've got some things to say about the governor as well. I'm going to say some really positive things to start off. He's not here today because... No. Dear God. I'll wink or point or something, okay? I'll tell you where he is. He's down in Knoxville watching Will play baseball. It's his final baseball weekend before he goes off to college to play. Congressman Comer is very intimate in baseball. Will's got a good swing. He's a lefty. He's got a nice long swing. And so this is the last weekend they're going to be playing. So I will be happy to give him a pass for this. But I'm going to tell you, what about the last 3 years? Okay, let's bring it up. So to help with this, you know, TV people always have things, right? They always have, coaches have clickers and everything. This is the Andy tracker that we've got. And with every place he's been, it's very difficult to find out where he is. That's because we know where he is, dear. Thank you, though. I can tell you where the governor was earlier. We had a breakout of no less than 5 tornadoes. And he was dressed up welcoming customers at Frankfurt's Target store. One of my reporter friends, who shall remain nameless so that they don't draw anybody's wrath, is here. And they contacted me the other day and said, hey, do you remember this clip from 2018? And it was when the governor was running for Attorney General, and he criticized Matt Bevin for not showing up in a one-on-one interview. He did that here at the crowded Fancy Farm, and he said, quote, well, one of the values I was raised with was showing up. I guess, as they say, those values have evolved over the years. Hold on a second. Oh, yes, Andy is in Vegas. Apparently, Andy figured that the safest bet this weekend was to avoid standing on this stage between the lieutenant governor and his former senior aide. Okay, let's get down to business. We start off by bringing on this area's native son to the stage, State Senator Jason Howell. Jason serves on the Banking, Insurance, Agriculture, and Economic Development Committees. So if your crops fail, if your insurance lapses, your business closes, and your loan gets denied, Jason can at least tell you which committee to call. Take down his number, 502-564-8100. Folks, join me in welcoming the legislator who hails from the furthest western point in our state, Fulton's own Jason Howell.
Thanks, Buzz. Hello, Fancy Farm. Welcome, everybody, to Graves County, the heart and soul of the district I'm honored to serve, for the greatest political event in Commonwealth of Kentucky, the 146th Fancy Farm Picnic. Thanks to Father Venters, Stephen Elder, and everybody that made this event what it is. We couldn't do it without you. We really appreciate you. I just want to reflect on a couple of things today. Kentucky politics has reached a changing of the guard. For more than 40 years, Kentucky has punched above its weight class because we had Mitch McConnell on our side in Washington. While Senator McConnell cannot be here today, I believe history books will hold him to be one of the most consequential senators of the modern era, and we have been blessed to have him on our corner. Senator McConnell's legacy was constantly focused on the future of Kentucky, and Kentucky's future lies in Washington, lies with the vision and energy of Andy Barr. Hey, I just want to let you know, it's great to hear people chant Andy for someone focused on Kentuckians rather than his own political ambitions. Now, seriously, while we really do have to focus on sending the right person to Washington, we also have to focus on our future here at home. For the past 10 years, the Kentucky legislature has set the stage for success. We passed right to work, cut red tape, and lowered the income tax from 6% to 3.5% on our way to zero. But we cannot remain stuck with a governor more worried about his political future than Kentucky's. Next year, we can choose a governor focused on our future. Kentucky does not need a roadie chasing a national tour. We need a maestro who knows how to conduct here at home. I just wonder who would be the right person for this job. I don't know, maybe somebody who knows the Kentucky legislature and knows how to work with us because he served in it. Maybe someone who grew up in rural Kentucky, has farmed, and shares our rural values and our dreams for the future. Maybe, just maybe, if he had experience with the Kentucky agriculture policy of working with the Kentucky Department of Agriculture, it'd be even better. Does anybody know a man like that? Well, I'll tell you, that's just one man's opinion, but I think a lot of us in here share it. Jamie, you have been on our side in Washington. We sure appreciate it, but that's a long way from my end of Kentucky, and we'd like for you to come home and fight for us just a little closer to home. But first, this November, vote Jamie Comer and vote Andy Barr. Let's send Andy Barr to the United States Senate. Now let's go have some barbecue after this summer.
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more.
What you say?
I have not been a very good MC on this. Where is the clock? Where's the clock? Clock is right there. So what we're doing is we're giving them how many minutes, whatever they're assigned, and then they get these cues at 1 minute, at 30 seconds, and then they cut off the mic. Okay, so I just wanted to do that. All right. Speaking of hopping around, let's get back to Representative Kim Holloway. And Representative Holloway is one of the more interesting routes that she has taken to Frankfort. She spent time as a libertarian before returning to the Republican Party. Around politics, that's on switching sides. We'll just say she took the scenic route down here in God's country. Did you know that Representative Holloway once got kicked off the ballot because one of her petition signatures came from a Democrat? That's got to be the most Kentucky way to lose an election even before it starts. And although most people who lose a race move on, not Kim. She's come back, beat the incumbent, and ended up in the House anyway. Representative Holloway, yes, give it up for her. Serves on the Agriculture, Families and Children, and Health Services Committee. Basically, if it grows, gets sick, or need raising, she's on top of it. Please join me in welcoming your Graves County host from House District 2, a 2-year veteran in the Kentucky House, Kim Holloway.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It is an honor to be here again for the 146th Annual Fancy Farm Picnic and to welcome everyone to my home county. I'm thankful to have been given a second term to represent our district in the General Assembly. Because I am unopposed in November, my speaking time has been cut down to 3 minutes this year. And because I am apparently irrelevant, hardly any of the media outlets bothered to report that I would even be here this year. I will admit, however, that I am joined today on the stage by some much more experienced candidates. Charles Booker is here. Again. Mr. Booker has never met a ballot he did not like. Maybe this year's ballot is the one which is going to like him back. Every statewide ballot has 3 guarantees: Republicans, Democrats, and Charles Booker. He served 2 years in the Kentucky House before he made a primary bid for Senate and has spent the last 6 years campaigning for whatever is on the ballot. He has spent more time running than he did sitting in the House. His campaign is starting to look less like a race and more like a consort tour. It may work out for him this year. I hear he has been endorsed by some notable pillars of persistence, including Cher, Stefano DiMera, and Spirit Halloween. All kidding aside, I do look forward to Mr. Booker's filings, however, because they are the most reliable sign that spring is near. We are all disappointed that Senator McConnell couldn't be here for what would be his final picnic as a sitting senator. Shit. I sincerely wish him well in his recovery. Andy Bashir is about to lose his mind because the senator isn't caving to his incessant demands for proof of life. Fancy Farm would have been the perfect destination for the senator because everyone knows the best place to hide from the governor is anywhere west of Bowling Green. Andy hasn't bothered to show up in the picnic in years, but something tells me he will be here next year. He's busy promoting his new book, Go and Do Likewise, a title adapted from the Good Samaritan in the book of Luke. Imagine authoring a book about healing a divided country by extorting other people's money and naming it after a story about voluntarily giving from your own pocket. The book is the first in a trilogy with subsequent titles, 40 Days and 40 Nights More to Flatten the Curve, and the Acts of the Appointments to the Kentucky State Fair Board. I could have gone for miles on this. Everyone have a great time today. Thank you for being here.
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more.
What you say?
Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back.
I mean, what the heck? I'm sorry, every time you do that, it sounds like, ah! Yeah, okay. I mean, I understand you were upset about the media coverage, but thank goodness most people are streaming this and we're not on broadcast television, or we would have gotten our license looked at for that. But how in the name of goodness do you bring Stefano DiMiro into this? He was one of the great characters in daytime soap operas. How does that happen? Our next speaker is Senator Rand Paul. Folks, if you did not see it on Wednesday, please go back and watch the Fauci hearing from start to finish. In over 44 years of doing this, I've never seen a politician eviscerate a witness with just the facts while keeping perfect decorum. It was a masterclass of taking someone down who was trying to smooth his way through with platitudes. How bad was this COVID thing? Senator Paul, I've got a souvenir I'd like you to sign. I went out to my car today, and I still have my COVID card because I was afraid to go anywhere without it. And for those of you that suffered in your businesses, whose children suffered educationally, thank God Rand Paul is still trying to track this down. When we look at this situation, CNN said it wasn't important. They wanted to look ahead. It's important to the people who suffered and are still suffering. Thank you on behalf of a grateful Commonwealth for your dogged pursuit of the truth. And now, ladies and gentlemen, soon to be Kentucky's senior senator, Senator Rand Paul.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody, look. Charles Booker's here again. Man, you are a glutton for punishment. When you lose this time, please, please come and run against me again, please. Charles, you know, is the king of the grift. Remember when you did that grift, Charles, when you made over $100 grand? What was it called? Oh, yeah, the hood to the holler. Remember when my wife called you out? What did she call it? Oh, that's right, the hood to the dollar. But Charles, I'm glad to see you haven't given up on your principles. Your principled stand for the mutilation of minors is sure to endear you to dozens of people. Your principled stand for drag queens in kindergarten might just be the clincher that lets you set a new record for the least votes ever. The U.S. Senate race is going to be a doozy between Andy Barr and a guy who never passed the bar. I guess this means the Democrat bench is empty, because I'll bet you even the Democrats for Hamas are not coming in this year. I can't believe Andy Bashir's not here to support you, but then again, he didn't come last time either. At least you've got the lieutenant governor here, and I worked, I tried to come up with an insult for her, but for the life of me, I can't remember her name. I guess Bashir is busy running for higher office. With any luck, he might be the next Pete Buttigieg. A wannabe that eventually no one remembers where they came from or where they went. Bashir's got the resume for it, no accomplishments, but an infinite amount of borrowing from the accomplishments of others. Now, Bashir is keen. He's keen to let you know he's a Democrat that knows a Bible verse. But he's yet to trot out the Bible verse that supports the mutilation of children. As far as Bashir bragging about the state of Kentucky, Kentucky's successful economy comes from one source and one source only, and that's our Republican majority. One of our proudest moments came as a state when the state legislature rebuked Bashir and told him his emergency powers were no more. Never again will a governor be allowed to send the state police after people trying to go to church. Never again will a governor be allowed to commandeer your restaurant, your hotel, or your gym. Never again will the governor close our schools. Kentucky thrives not because of the direction of a liberal Democrat governor, but because our Constitution limits the power of our governors. Every single one of his vetoes were overridden by the Republican legislature. If Andy Bashir is remembered, it will for being neutered at every turn by the Republican legislature. If Andy Bashir is remembered, it may be as being the last Democrat governor. For those with eyes to see, it is clear why Kentucky thrives. It is because of our Republican majority. I am proud to be part of that majority. I'm proud to be a Kentuckian, and I'm forever grateful to be part of the greatest freedom experiment in world history. God bless the USA. Thank you very much.
Is it Megan? Hi, Megan. Aren't you a candidate yourself? Well, if you get enough votes on a signature thing, you can come up here and speak sometime, and then you wouldn't have to do so much yelling. I love you. I'd be happy to talk to you afterwards. Okay, you got it. He doesn't represent this district. Okay, fine. All right, thank you. Moving right along, I just thought you all would want to know that. I'm pleased to announce that we do have an Andy here today. Congressman Andy Barr is here as well. We appreciate having an Andy in Kentucky this weekend. Of course, Congressman Barr is running for the United States Senate seat that'll be vacated by Senator McConnell. He's got the most effective campaign in America. You'd be wise to stay on his side. Now, usually when you win a race, you have to pound your opponent, right? But I don't know what he did, but he got a guy who's got all kinds of money, and he got the president to make him an offer he couldn't refuse. I mean, how many people actually want to be the ambassador to Colombia? I mean, Britain, the Virgin Islands, places like that. But he got run out to go to Colombia. So now, while most people spend their summer at the lake, Andy has spent his summer introducing himself to people who still don't know who he is, even though he's been on the ballot 5 times. Is this your first here? Second time here at Fancy Farm. Please help me welcoming the Andy who is not afraid to show up at Fancy Farm, Andy Barr.
Hello, Fancy Farm! I'm honored to be back for the 2nd year in a row. Thank you, St. Jerome, for carrying on this unique Kentucky tradition. I'm Andy Barr. I'm the Republican nominee for the United States Senate, and I'm so Kentucky, my laptop runs on coal. I believe tobacco is a vegetable, and Ale 81 should be in the school lunch program. First, I want to send our well wishes to Senator McConnell, who I spoke to yesterday. He shared that he looks forward to getting back to work soon, and he reminisced about the many times he went to Fancy Farm picnics since 1984. When the senator first spoke here, Kentucky was a Democratic stronghold. But today, as Senator McConnell says, you can't find a Democrat with a flashlight. Hey, if I were a Kentucky Democrat and had to defend the Democratic Party, I wouldn't want to be found either. Which is why I guess Governor Beshear is not here today. To his credit, I'm impressed by the governor's rapid response to emergencies. No matter what happens in Kentucky, within 2 minutes, he can find a podium and his navy blue emergency management jacket. You know, he loves that jacket so much, he has pajamas just like it. Also, to his credit, he's worked his way up from nothing. If by nothing you mean starting as a son of a governor. Did you hear that the governor said he didn't know any details about this week's announcement of a $100 billion investment in his own state? Whoa. And I thought Joe Biden was sleepy. But I'm glad my opponent, Charles Booker, is here. You see a lot of stories that the Democratic Party is out of step with voters. By that standard, I would have to say, the Democrats have picked the perfect candidate in Charles. You know, I would call him the Mamdani of Kentucky, but Mamdani has actually won an election. You know, Charles is a community organizer. Newsflash, that's not a job. That's what you put on a resume when professional complainer sounds too negative. I heard Charles recently learned how out of step he was with Kentucky voters and decided to repair his image. So he walked into a bourbon bar and announced, "I'm a socialist drinker." The bartender asked, "Don't you mean you're a social drinker?" Charles responded, No, I'm a socialist drinker. I only drink when someone else is picking up the tab. You know, Charles has been endorsed by socialist Bernie Sanders, AOC, and the Indian princess herself, Elizabeth Warren. Charles and the Socialists. It sounds like a name of a band no one wants to listen to. It's like ABBA, but they can't sing money, money, money because it's always been redistributed. Charles, socialism doesn't work in Cuba and it won't work in Kentucky. The socialists can keep their electric scooters, their oat milk, and the Green New Deal. In Kentucky, we like our trucks, our mint juleps, and our AC set to 68. My opponent's whole platform is abolish. Abolish ICE, abolish the border, abolish police, abolish prisons, abolish private health care, abolish student debt. Come November, he's going to wish they abolished Election Day. Charles opposes showing an ID to vote. I think that's crazy. But then again, if I was one of Charles' voters, I wouldn't want to identify myself either. He's also for universal basic income. In other words, paying people to not work. But Charles is always thinking ahead. Now he's trying to figure out how to pay overtime for not working. Charles and the socialists say they want to tax the rich, but they consider rich anyone who owns a pair of socks that match. They believe in shared sacrifice, which means you sacrifice your paycheck and they share in it. They say they're working for the working people. Then they propose policies to make it harder to work. In Kentucky, socialism is as popular as Christian Leitner. The socialists know this, so they've rebranded themselves as democratic socialists. Democratic is one thing, socialist is quite another. You can't be both. No wonder they can't figure out what bathroom to use. The problem is not the word democratic. The problem is the word socialism. You can vote your way into government control, but it's a lot harder to vote your way out. First, they ask for your vote, then they ask for your paycheck, and in the end, they ask for your freedom. And by then, it's too late. Ladies and gentlemen, this race is about whether Kentucky will elect a senator who will fight for you, or whether you will vote for someone who will give you more lectures. Thank you.
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more.
What you say?
Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more.
All right. Our next speaker is running as the Democratic nominee for U.S. Senate. He is no stranger to Kentucky politics. He was the youngest black legislator to ever serve in the Kentucky House of Representatives. Charles Booker is also one of the state's most prominent progressive leaders and has built a loyal grassroots movement. Charles, I'm sorry if you feel out of place here. There's no hood or no holler. Neither one of these in Fancy Farm. He's run statewide before, built passionate grassroots following, and now he's back for another shot at the Senate. Now, as I stand here on this stage, Charles, I'm sweating from my hood to my down under. So I'd like to ask a big favor. Whatever you're going to do with ICE, put an exemption in for the first Saturday in August, because we need ICE here at Fancy Farm today. We love this weather. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Charles Booker.
How y'all doing, Fancy Farm? It is an honor to be with you today. It is a privilege to be on this stage. I thank God for this opportunity. And even if you boo, I'm going to make sure you have high quality health care. Now listen, Rand Paul stood on the stage this year. He had a lot of courage. He was too afraid to face me last time. He sent his wife to do his dirty work. Now don't blame him for being too scared to face me. But he'll work with me when I get to the Senate and we can work to stop endless war, because I don't care what your party is. If you care about Kentucky, you got an ally in me. Now, family, the last time I was on this stage, we were still navigating a historic storm, floods in the east, a tornado in this region. And at that moment, we didn't ask what your party was. We rolled up our sleeves, put on our work boots, and said, how do you need help? How can I show up for you? That's what we need in our politics now. And as your nominee for United States Senate, I'm ready to roll up my sleeves for you. I'm ready to get my shoes dirty for you, because that's what family does. And listen, this work is so important because we're still dealing with storms, rising costs, our loved ones being sent to endless war, and the corruption of a robber baron like Elon Musk becoming a trillionaire, trying to ram data centers in our backyards and ignoring the voices of regular people. Kentuckians are hurting. And in the midst of all of it has been Mitch McConnell and Andy Barr. Now, to my Republican family, let me say something to you. Even Thomas Massey said this: Republicans run everything in Washington. You got the House, the Senate, and the White House. What has that done for you? They've delivered nothing. Andy Barr has been a failure in the Congress. And we're not going to reward mediocrity by promoting him to the U.S. Senate. No, we're not going out like that. We're going to replace Mitch McConnell by retiring his puppet in Andy Barr. Now, I know you don't know who Andy Barr is. He never shows up for you. I know you don't know who he is, so let me tell you. No, he's not the Andy that gets things done. This Andy is a bit of a fraud. He's a charlatan. Andy Barr has been a shapeshifter. He's been a moderate Republican, and now he's trying to cosplay like he wants to make America great again. Cut the act, Andy Barr. Nobody's buying it. Andy Barr is a weak version of Mitch McConnell and a bootleg version of Donald Trump. Andy Barr is the Nate Morris of Matt Bevins. The man is a joke. Andy Barr is a status quo politician who would rather fund endless war and protect the Epstein files instead of stand up for you. Now, I know one thing. All of us agree in protecting our children. So why would Andy Barr refuse to push for the release of the Epstein files? I will never support child predators. I will never protect pedophiles. And folks, one of the worst things about it all is Andy Barr knows better. Mitch McConnell, okay, wait a minute. Where in the world is Mitch McConnell? What is going on with Mitch McConnell? I was the first person to call for transparency. And instead of speaking up for Kentucky, Andy Barr has been quiet as a church mouse. He refuses to say anything. Now, Kentucky, one thing we hate more than bullies is cowards. The only person that's radical in this Senate race is Andy Barr. Andy Barr's whole idea in this campaign was to put an ad on TV saying it's a sin to be white. That is crazy. Come on. Andy, let me help you. It's not a sin to be who God created you to be. It's not a sin to stand in your faith. But it ought to be a sin to be that desperate. Come on. Folks, we are sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm not running to trash talk Andy that, look, I'm going to beat him, but it's still my brother. And I'm still going to fight for you in Washington. I know that we're hurting, and that's why I'm here. I am standing up because I've seen so many Kentuckians go through the same struggles I have. I've rationed my insulin to feed my children, and if you are fed up with the status quo, I'm asking you to stand with me. So in my closing, we are up against it, Kentucky, but we know how to navigate the storms, and that's what we need to do right now. And if you are ready for a Kentucky that you can actually afford, stand with Booker and give Barr the boot. if you're ready for good quality health care so everyone has the same health care that Mitch McConnell's getting right now, stand with Booker and give Barr the boot. If you believe that housing is a human right, if you care about our veterans, if you care about our farmers, if you're sick and tired of these tariffs, stand with Booker and give Barr the boot. If you're ready to drain the swamp, let's get rid of the status quo. Kentucky, I love you. I thank God for the chance to represent you, and even if you don't vote for me, I'm gonna fight for you because I'm tired of seeing Kentucky be disregarded. Mr. McConnell screwed us over long enough. This is our time. Love y'all.
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more.
Thank you, Charles. I'm going to tell you something now. The Republicans used to be in this position like back in the early 80s, but it takes a lot of courage for a Democrat to be up here today. And so for all of you on this side, thank you so much for your service. Our next speaker is making his first run for Congress as the Democratic nominee in the 1st District seat. John Williams is a lifelong Marshall County and community organizer and says he wants to bring a working class voice to Washington. If you're still trying to figure out who he is, congratulations, you're fully caught up with the rest of Kentucky. John, whose friends call him Drew, helped organize Tater Day. I'm in favor of that. It's most impressive as chairing the House Appropriations Committee. Every time you think you've reached the bottom of Drew's platform, another issue appears. He's got 15 different policies on his website. Folks, running against Jamie Comer isn't easy. At least this race guarantees one thing. Western Kentucky will finally learn who Drew Williams is. Join me in welcoming John Drew Williams.
We're going to, but we're going to do Chris Campbell first with the Senate.
Do I have it? Guys, hold on a second. Big mistake for the MC. Sorry, I was over talking to Chris earlier. I want to continue with this. We've added Kentucky Party Senate candidate Christopher Campbell to the roster. Per our protocol, all political candidates running in the general election are invited to speak, regardless of political affiliation. Unlike primary races, we've not established fundraising requirements yet. The Fancy Farm Picnic remains committed to hearing all voices and letting the people decide. Again, my apologies. Let's hear it for Christopher Campbell.
Oh, yeah. This is nice. Well, good afternoon. My name is Christopher Campbell, and I am from Richmond, Kentucky. Thank you for having me here, and I want to give a special thank you to Stephen Elder and the Fancy Farm Committee for allowing me to speak at this historic event. This is a great honor, and I do not take this honor lightly. Standing here today with so many of the bright political minds in our state, I'm reminded of the parable of the Pharisee and the tax collector from the book of Luke. In this story, two men are heading to the temple to pray. The Pharisee stands at the temple to pray away from everyone else. He stands alone and thanks God that he is not like the others. He's not like the robbers, the adulterers, the wrongdoers. He's not even as bad as the lowly tax collector. The tax man stands off a distance from the Pharisee. He's very quiet. His hand is clenched and he's softly pounding against his chest. And he's quietly praying, God, have mercy on me, a sinner. The tax collector was justified before God. For those who exalt themselves, like the Pharisee, shall be humbled. And for those who humble themselves, they shall be exalted. Most of our elected officials are supremely confident in their own righteousness, while they look down upon others with disdain and malice. None of these folks represent Kentucky or the citizens of the Commonwealth. They exalt themselves above others, and wow, man. They are rich people being directed by rich people that are letting those decide how you should live. What does Garland Barr represent? Seriously. He clearly doesn't represent competence. Think about it. your representative will sit in a room with a weapons dealer, a pharmacy rep, or Donald Trump, listen to them speak, and think, wow, this makes sense. This guy has good ideas. Charles Booker is morally compromised. He is morally compromised because the leaders of the Democratic Party have sold themselves to Israel, and they have left Kentucky behind. Mr. Booker is allowed to say whatever he wishes, so long as he doesn't follow through on those words. My opponents want to send your kids across the globe to die in wars at the behest of foreign empires. But at least Charles will apologize. Thanks, Charles. Essentially, my opponents are the same. Republicans are Democrats, and Democrats are Republicans. All you have to do is look at the endless wars that we are constantly locked in. They lead by one mantra: everything for the rich, whatever else they can scrape aside for themselves, and nothing for Kentucky. That mantra is no more evident than the unmitigated expansion of AI data centers across our country. Trillions of taxpayer subsidies have been poured into large AI corporations. Now, technology is not inherently antagonistic toward humanity, as it has significantly improved the human condition. However, it does carry the potential to impair human life if it is not focused at positive objectives. There is a $100 billion proposal that will send funds to Western Kentucky for data center implementation. This will increase your utility bills and decrease the amount of money in your pockets. And many of you have already experienced these burdens firsthand. They came for the trees, they came for the mountains, and now they're coming for everything else. And why is that? Because someone somewhere will always sell out the rest of us to make some money. Barr and Booker. Barr and Booker. I'm going to start calling y'all Schumer and McConnell, although I shouldn't speak ill of the dead. Kentucky requires representation. I am here to represent you, Kentucky, not special interest and not the elites in D.C. Chuck and Mitch ain't going to do that for you. You need someone who will fight for your individual liberties over corporate greed. So I will stand against foreign interests and government overreach. Someone who will reduce wasteful spending, rein in billionaires, and someone who will stop sending our money and our families overseas to fight the genocides for sociopaths. Getting onto this stage was no small feat, and it took the collective effort of a lot of people, and they know who they are. I thank the 7,000 plus petitioners that signed my ballot that allowed me the opportunity to run for office to represent this great Commonwealth. I grew up in rural Marion County, walking around gravel roads, picking up cans to scrape together enough money to buy bread and bologna. So I understand the struggle of people because I came from a family who struggled to make ends meet. Now, I lived on a few farms, and I have to admit, I didn't know they could be this fancy. I am the only nonpartisan candidate on this stage, and I am humbled to stand on this stage, and I am grateful for your time and for your attention. I leave you with this quote from author and civil rights advocate James Baldwin. Not everything faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. Thank you for your time. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. And again, my apologies. I'm on the clock now. Rocky has told me that I had a 2-turnover limit or else he's going to put my butt on the bench. So we'll try not to do this. So, Drew, you and Congressman, we got a coin flip to see which one of you guys goes first. Anybody want to call it or do it or what? All right. I'm going to let it hit. Heads is the call. What is it? Tails. All right, so hang on. Chief, join me in welcoming for real this time, John Drew Williams.
Hello, Fancy Farm. My name is Drew Williams, and I'm going to be your next United States House Representative. I am here for you. Last year, I came to St. Jerome Catholic Church Picnic to tell you about myself, an 18-year construction worker by trade, a historian by education with a degree from Murray State University, a lifelong community servant, an advocate for those in need, and I came to tell you about express our hopes for the movement that we can accomplish. This year, I came to bring you receipts. Running for represent this community has been the greatest blessing of my life. I have attended over 107 public events this campaign, county fairs, town halls, listening forums, senior centers, so many 5K runs, community service actions, and a wide range of church services, including St. Jerome Catholic Church last week. We've canvassed over 20,000 doors so far, including here in Fancy Farm, and my goal is a good faith conversation with every willing person in this sprawling gerrymandered district. We have been pushing for a change in the conversation, to ask ourselves how we can be of service to others around us, to act like no one is coming to save us and our neighbors, to be truly the hands and feet of Christ that we have been crying out for in prayer. It has got to become popular to love our neighbor again, and you deserve representation that strives to be a positive role model and an advocate for community empowerment every single day. I am here for you. I consider myself and my specific brand of politics as a liberty-style econocrat. If you are someone looking for more liberty in your life and those in your community, for money in your pocket, power to the working people, and supporting the PRO Act, and a visible opportunity for anyone willing to reach for it to achieve the American dream, welcome to the team. I believe government should be judged by results, whether the people are truly free, that they keep more of what they build towards, and that the interface between government and the people be as effortless and effective as possible. Government should respect your rights, stop powerful interests from taking advantage of you, and ensure that the public dollars go to the public good. I am here for you. That begins with making every dollar you work for mean something again. I believe we should simplify the tax code with the $100,000 federal tax exemption for earned income and Social Security, to replace the bracket system with a smooth rate gradient afterwards so every dollar you earn actually means something. Economic safety net services should follow the same principle. Right now, someone can take a new job, take a shift, or earn a pay raise and lose more through earned income and SNAP, Medicaid, housing assistance, and child care than the new income was worth. For every additional dollar earned, total assistance should decline by 10 to 15 cents. No cliffs, no punishments for taking on the effort. Every dollar earned should move you forward. I am here for you. Then we follow it up with representation that cannot be bought. Federal officials, top appointees, and their immediate families should be banned from trading individual stock trades while they hold power over legislation and public spending. We have to eliminate dark money in politics, ban politicians from becoming lobbyists, and for proper ethics reform for the entire federal government. When your representative owns personal stocks in mega corporations like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, surveillance state companies like Palantir, and companies positioned to profit from AI, from data center expansion, and from the military-industrial complex, or when they take PAC donations from big oil, banking, and private equity, how can you say with confidence they will stand up for you when they won't hold public events or meet people where they are? People should never wonder whether a vote abandons their community to serve a corporate donor or their personal portfolio. Right now, I'm calling on every Kentucky candidate and office holder to reject corporate and non-union special interest PAC money, publicly disavow dark money and super PAC support, and pledge to not trade individual stocks while serving. We need standards in Kentucky that rise above party, personality, and political ambition. Representation means knowing where your unique concerns lie, whether it's preventing mudslides and stabilizing roads in the city of Hickman, whether it's upgrading your Kevil's wastewater system, building affordable housing in Murray, understanding Arlington's proposed agricultural waste-to-energy plant, answering the uncertainty around the proposed uranium enrichment in Paducah, community-based services for our seniors in Benton, and continuing the recovery of homes and businesses here in Mayfield nearly 5 years after the tornado. Across this district, it means standing up for families who rely on medical waivers and affordable prescriptions for survival, and for standing against the reckless push to put AI data centers and private surveillance cameras in every corner of our rural communities. These are not Washington talking points. These are our homes, our health, our livelihoods, and our future. To Mr. Comer, I sincerely want to thank you for dropping out of this congressional race as you set your sights on running for governor next year. After 10 long years in the swamps of D.C., it is only right you come home and remember how to connect with the broad range of families you hope to serve. You are the only current candidate for governor without statewide responsibilities. And as a firm believer in term limits for Congress like myself, and this will be your 6th term in office, I know you would not shortchange our district for your personal aspirations. I respect that you are not planning to stick taxpayers with an expensive multi-million-dollar special election or treat this House seat like your own entitlement if the governor's race does not go your way. I am glad that you have more integrity than that. Mr. Comer and I have both agreed to stay here as long as you all need us to this afternoon and remain available to answer any questions you may have. We will both be available at our respective tents afterwards, because that is what this job is about. It's about being here for you. You deserve a representative who will show up, truly listen, answer your questions, tell the truth, and work to solve your concerns. This seat belongs to the people, not a politician's stock portfolio, corporations, lobbyists, billionaire donors, or foreign powers. My name is Drew Williams. I am asking for your voice, for your vote, and for your help in rebuilding our village. I am here for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Drew. Did any of you guys notice on the way in here there are about 1 billion Comer signs out there on the roads? Congressman Comer is here. Of course, he's running for Congress in 2026, and there's a lot of speculation about later. Of course, if you do run for something statewide, you've got to travel an awful lot. And for Jamie, that's just traveling his own district. The congressman chairs the Oversight Committee. This is just the beginning. He said that a ton of times, so many times that people start wondering if there's ever going to be a middle. And thank goodness, in the face of nonstop second guessing, Jamie Comer not only exposed Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, but Dr. Fauci as well. This is important stuff. And you're all going to benefit from it, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. Please join me in welcoming Congressman Jamie Comer.
Thank you, Buzz. Thank you all. Thank you. It's great to be back at the greatest annual political tradition in Kentucky, the Fancy Farm Picnic. It's also great to have some Democrats back on the stage this year. Charles Booker, my man, I'm going to save you some time and gas money. Nobody in West Kentucky is buying that socialist bullcrap you're selling. This is Andy Barr country. And you just heard from my opponent, Drew Williams. He is the ambitious sort. Drew ran for Benton City Council and lost, finishing 8th out of 10. So he moved up. And later he ran for state representative against my good friend Chris Freeland, but he lost in the Democrat primary, finishing 3rd out of 3. And now my ambitious opponent has moved up again to run for Congress against me. At least this time, Drew, you're going to finish 2nd. This time you're moving up in the world. So I'm going to make a prediction at Fancy Farm. I predict Drew will run for president in the Democrat primary next year, and he might be the strongest Democrat from Kentucky. Since Andy Beshear is only polling 1% in New Hampshire, Drew will only start off 1 point behind. And now we have our 2 Democrat gubernatorial hopefuls. I'm going to start with Lieutenant Governor Coleman, because she has a 24-point lead over Old Rocky. Governor, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you that Rocky's no longer the top bureaucrat in the Beshear administration, because now maybe you can do like he's done and take credit for all the great things that these Republican state legislators have done in the past 7 years. The only thing that I can recall that Lieutenant Governor Coleman ever got credit for is for getting her hairdresser on unemployment insurance. And Rocky, since after 40 long years you are no longer on the government teat, I'm worried you will starve to death. And since none of the current special interest will pay for your expensive meals at Jeff Ruby's anymore, we're going to take up, because I'm a Baptist, we're going to take up a love offering for Rocky to be able to keep going to Jeff Ruby's. I'm going to start off right here. They're passing the plate around. We're going to get everybody. Y'all help old Rocky out. That Bordeaux is expensive. My friends, I've had the honor of serving as your congressman for 10 years. And I'm proud that after only 3.5 years in Congress, I was elected by my House colleagues to be the top Republican on the powerful House Oversight Committee. My focus has always been to be the one guy in Washington who gets the backs of the working people. My primary mission is to root out waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government. I have fought the corrupt special interests. I have exposed dirty politicians who turned a blind eye to fraud, and I have led depositions of some of the most powerful and richest men in the world in both parties. I will continue to fight every day for the forgotten Kentuckians, those people who work hard, pay taxes, take care of their families, and go to church on Sundays. I've worked very closely with President Trump to successfully secure the border and deport the criminal illegals. Despite every single Democrat in Washington opposing that, I strongly support the Save America Act, which requires a valid ID with proof of citizenship in order to vote, despite every single Democrat in Congress opposing it. I will continue to oppose the Socialist Democrat Party takeover of America. Those three Democrats on the stage all endorsed Socialist Charles Booker for Kentucky's U.S. Senate seat, and they endorsed Dimbo for Congress in Lexington, who will vote for Hakeem Jeffries to be the next Speaker of the House. No, I doubt Hakeem Jeffries is going to have the working men and women of Kentucky's best interest at heart. So, my friends, if you want illegals voting in elections, if you want more welfare fraud and a socialist takeover, then vote for these Democrats on the stage. But if you want secure elections, welfare fraudsters apprehended and deported, and if you want freedom and liberty, then vote for the people on this side of the stage, the Republicans. I sincerely ask for your vote this November to continue fighting for the working men and women, senior citizens on fixed income, our farmers, and our public school teachers. Thank you, and may God bless the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
Thank you, Congressman. Okay, I don't want any cracks or anything. I told you at the beginning of this deal, I commend Governor Beshear for being with his son this weekend. They won their first two games yesterday. They won their game this morning. They're playing again right now. And as a parent, I can tell you that there's nothing in the world I wouldn't do legally to try to get back all those games with my kids that I didn't attend because I thought I was doing something that was important. So that's always going to be a pass. Same person that feels like that. I love coaches and I love players, and that's where we're going for this next race. Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman is an educator, a history teacher, a former basketball coach, and now she's joined the team running for governor. She believes she can lead her team to a title. Coach Coleman already knows what it feels like to draw up a game plan while everybody is in the stands is convinced they've got a better one. And she is the first lieutenant governor to have a baby while in
teacher in Kentucky. But what I'm really looking forward to is being your governor in 2027. Now, speaking of governors, I know at least some of you are really upset that Andy couldn't be here this year, and I want you to know that I tried. I really tried to get him here. I even told him Fancy Farm was in New Hampshire, but it didn't work. It just didn't work. Now listen, Andy and I have had a great run. More economic investment and more job creation than ever in Kentucky's history. And it all started because we barely beat Matt Bevin back in 2019. But they're still making headlines. Both of them are still making headlines. Beshear as a presidential contender and Bevin as a perennial criminal. I really cannot imagine how embarrassed I would be if we lost to a guy like that. Poor old Jamie Comer, he went from losing to criminals in Kentucky to protecting them in D.C. Meanwhile, the Beshear-Coleman administration has been busy protecting Kentuckians. We have sky-high approval ratings for a reason. We prioritized public education, and so did every county across Kentucky when we defeated Amendment 2 in a landslide. We've built a strong foundation for a better future in Kentucky, and now is not the time to take our foot off the gas. The next governor, whoever she may be, has to keep our win streak going by focusing on working families, by fighting for the health care Kentuckians deserve, pre-K for all, affordable housing, and finally delivering the raise our educators deserve. One of my favorite things, though, has been the All In for Ag Education Week that Jonathan Schell and I created together. We visited elementary schools all across this state, and Jonathan was so committed, he even wore the same size shirts as elementary school kids did. But really, we were all impacted by our time in school. We were. Like today, Michael Adams' speech is going to be all the proof we need that he was always picked last on the playground. Now, speaking of pick-me-boy energy, what on earth was Russell Coleman thinking when he posted that I wasn't his ex-wife or his sister when I announced my run for governor? I didn't even have to write a joke about it because the social media comments reminded me that the internet is undefeated. So here are a few of my favorite from all of you. Did you marry your sister? I'm confused. No one thought this woman would have ever married you. Keep dreaming. You look like the kind of guy that would marry your sister and leave it to an unattractive, irrelevant man to try to make it about himself. And forgive me, this is where I was going to put in a Mark Metcalf joke, but I forgot it, and that probably feels pretty fitting today. Finally, to my two potential opponents in the upcoming year, Rocky and Jamie. I've known them both for a very long time. They both actually served in the House with my dad. So they'll probably tell you that they knew me when I was in diapers, and if these two hang around much longer, I'm going to be able to say the same thing about them. Thank you, Fancy Farm!
I don't know about you, Lieutenant Governor, but life is hard. I'm kind of looking forward to being back in diapers. That's what they call the circle of life. Next, as the Lieutenant Governor said, I'm fortunate enough to be friends with just about everybody up on this stage, and I appreciate their participation, their sacrifice, and yours as well, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. So now let's turn to Rocky Adkins, who just left the governor's office last month. Some may say it was to run for governor, but I believe it's been because it was too darn hard to keep up with where Andy was. As I was saying, Rocky is a Frankfurt icon. If you're headed to the Capitol in these directions, just ask Siri to take you to Rocky. It'll take you there every time. In fact, Rocky has so many jobs in Frankfurt, his parking pass just says park wherever you want. He's had an outstanding career in public service, but if you heard him speak for more than 60 seconds, you've no doubt heard about that basketball team he played on 50 years ago. At this point, Rocky's jump shot has as much campaign experience as Rocky does. But one thing about it, few players in this state, no matter what they play, are known by a single name. Friends, this man proves that in Kentucky, a good basketball story never gets too old. Welcome to the stage, Sandy Hook's favorite son, my friend, Rocky Adkins.
Well, Fancy Farm, it's good to be back here with all of you. I've been on this stage many times. I had the great opportunity, Dave, of being the MC of this great event, the greatest political picnic in America. So let me just say to the St. Jerome Catholic Church, thank you for this fundraiser. That is really what it's all about, the money that's being raised so they can put good deeds back out into this community. Before I get to my comments, though, I want to comment on a person that has not been mentioned today. This is an individual that I served for 20 years in the Kentucky House of Representatives. He represented Graves County, and he represented it very well. He represented this community. He represented it very well, of Fancy Farm. Matter of fact, they were getting ready to close the elementary school here in Fancy Farm. And let me tell you, there was a guy by the name of Fred Nestler that would not give up, and he got that funding to make sure Fancy Farm Elementary stayed open. Fred is no longer with us, but Fred's looking down on us today. Let's give it up. There was a resolution that was introduced in the House, and Barr and Comer both, who say they're big supporters of those industries, that resolution would have ended the tariffs. They voted no on that resolution to not bring the relief that the farmers, the bourbon industry needed. I think that's wrong. How about you? Well, and then if that wasn't enough, they voted no on the bipartisan infrastructure bill. A bill bringing billions of dollars to the Commonwealth of Kentucky. a bill that's helping us build the Brent Spence Bridge, a bill that's helping us finish the Mountain Parkway, a bill that's bringing projects all over Kentucky from river ports to bridges to infrastructure. Well, I think it's really interesting that both Barr and Comer voted against that bill, but Jamie ran down to Paducah with a press conference the other day. And in that press conference, he announced $20-some million for the river port, but he forgot to put in that press conference, he voted against the bill that paid for it. I think that's wrong. How about you? And if that wasn't enough, then he ran back up to Frankfort and he had another press release. And that press release, yes, Frankfort is in his congressional district. He ran back up to Frankfort and he announced another $20-some million to replace the Singing Bridge in Frankfort, Kentucky. He forgot to put in that press conference that, yes, he voted against the funding to pay for the bill. Well, I believe real leadership and real public service is about getting results for the people of Kentucky. Real leadership is what this Governor Andy Beshear has produced, and I've been honored to be his senior advisor. Real leadership is about securing more than $50 billion in economic development and private sector investment across this great Commonwealth of Kentucky over the last 6.5 years. Real public service is about creating 70,000 new jobs at the highest wages in Kentucky's history. That's what real leadership's about. How about you? And real leadership and public service is about creating an environment that has broken the tourism record in Kentucky over the last 4 years. I like that kind of leadership. Is about announcing more than 1,300 businesses, expanding new locations across this Commonwealth. I think that's real leadership. How about you? And I do believe that real leadership is about bringing common sense and common ground. How about you? I believe real leadership is treating people with dignity and respect. How about you? Real leadership is about bringing certainty. It's about bringing stability. Real leadership is working across party aisles to bring real results to Kentucky. Let me tell you something. That is the kind of leadership I will bring if you allow me to be the next governor of this great Commonwealth of Kentucky. Well,
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more.
What you say?
Thanks, Rocky. Jonathan Schell is our state agriculture commissioner, and he was here most of the day yesterday and the day before. But a tragedy in the agriculture department has called him back to central Kentucky for the funeral this afternoon. For more on that, here's the former Fancy Farm political director, Mr. Mark Wilson.
I'm here today on behalf of our Kentucky Ag Commissioner, Jonathan Schell. As Dave just said, he is at the funeral of Dale Dobson in Hodgenville today. If you know Jonathan, you know how much he loves Fancy Farm. He hasn't missed one in the last decade. He comes to our end of the state many times a year. He loves this part of the Commonwealth and has spent the entire week here in God's country. But today, he couldn't be here. Today, he's burying his brother and my brother too. That's exactly what Dale Dobson was to many of us. Bear with me. He was a giant in Kentucky agriculture, a tireless advocate for farm safety, and a mountain of a man whose impact reached every corner of our Commonwealth and this nation. Many of you knew Dale well. Graves County was like his second home to him. He never missed Fancy Farm, and for the last 10 years, and he usually brought a busload of farmers with him. And he also helped our committee with the guest list each year. He loved being up here checking in the guests. look forward to it. Dale dedicated his life to serving Kentucky's ag community through an unwavering commitment to farm safety, rescue, health, and hope. As the founding member and longtime director of Farm Safety and Rural Health, Dale spent more than 3 decades working to protect the lives and well-being of Kentucky's farmers, farm families, and first responders. He understood that protecting farmers meant caring for both their physical safety and their mental well-being. Perhaps his greatest legacy was the Challenge Corn Farmer Suicide Prevention Program, reminding countless Kentuckians that hope is always within reach. Dale's greatest legacy is not found in the programs he built, but in the thousands of lives he touched, the hope he restored, and the reminder he gave every person he met. When Dale began his mission, September 1st, 1998, he was hired on during administration of Commissioner Billy Ray Smith from Bowling Green. He experienced more than 50 farm-related fatalities each year. That number has since fallen to fewer than 12 fatalities per year. That deserves a round of applause. Dale's efforts also contributed to 21 documented suicide interventions, while 32 individuals personally shared that raising hope has significantly improved their mental or physical health or had saved their life. He pioneered farm safety in Kentucky and truthfully across the nation, leaving behind a legacy that will continue protecting Kentucky farmers for generations to come. Please continue to lift Dale's family, Ag Commissioner Jonathan Schell, the Kentucky Department of Agriculture, and our entire agriculture community in your prayers. Dale, on behalf of Commissioner Schell and myself and the Kentucky Ag community, rest in peace, old buddy. Thank you.
Well said, Mark, well said. Russell Coleman became the first Attorney General in America to sue an artificial intelligence chatbot, which might explain why ChatGPT has been so unusually polite to me this week. The AG spent a lot of time going after social media companies, which means he's one of the few elected officials trying to spend less time on social media. That doesn't make him very popular with kids, Facebook, TikTok, or Roblox. Maybe if somebody had just responded to his friend request. A.G. Coleman works hard. He's always working. But I hear he did go to the beach this summer to let his hair down. Just one hair down. Folks, join me in welcoming to the stage Kentucky Attorney General Russell Coleman.
Thank you, Buzz. Thank you, St. Jerome, so much for hosting us here today. None of this fantastic event would happen. None of this would occur, but for the men and women standing in uniform on my left and on my right. So please join me in honoring these fine Kentucky lawmen and lawwomen. In law enforcement, and as your Attorney General, you go to where the threats are. When the Biden administration, when they came after Kentucky's farms, when the radical left targeted Kentucky coal, when Washington forced men into women's sports, we fought back. In the courts, at the podium, and most importantly, friends, as you know, at the ballot box, and we won. Thanks to you, the grassroots, we beat back the radical left, returned common sense to the White House and to our country. And as your Attorney General, I can promise you, I proudly fight the crazy. the crazy. Right now, New York is shuttering coal plants. In California, these folks over here, California, they're telling Kentucky farmers how to raise their hogs, how to raise the hogs that become this delicious Kentucky pork. Friends, that stinks. That stinks like, well, Commissioner Shell would tell you what that stinks like. Sadly, today's Democrat Party has left West Kentucky behind. It's the party of AOC, it's the party of Graham Plattner, and it's the party of Mr. Booker. It's a party of socialists. It's a party of anti-Semitism, and it is the party of anti-police radicals. They're wrong, friends. They're wrong for Kentucky and wrong for our future. Kentucky needs fighters. They need fighters in Washington and fighters in Frankfurt, and we've got some of the best standing on this side of the stage today. I am proud to stand alongside powerhouse Congressman Jamie Comer and the next governor of this Commonwealth. And how about the next United States Senator from this Commonwealth, Andy Barr? Now, Mr. Baker, at the other end of the spectrum, Mr. Baker's a fine man, and I appreciate his cover for our governor's absence here today. There's another view for why he's not standing on stage, an alternative that's out there, and I just want to address this standing here. It's good intel that he skipped out on this picnic today because he was afraid, great MC today, but he was afraid our friend David Beck might be back up here as MC. It's an absolute privilege to serve as your AG, and I am so proud for what we've done to help fight for your families and keep them safe. We've launched Better Without It. It's a campaign to protect kids from the drug crisis, first of its kind in the country. We are surging resources to tackle violent crime by going after trigger pullers. In just a few weeks, we'll be taking Facebook to court, sitting across from Facebook for harming our kids. We go to where the threats are, and we're not stopping. This is the most dangerous item in your home, and we will be taking on the social media companies. It is the opioid fight of our generation.
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more.
What you say?
Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney General. Our next speaker is Kentucky State Treasurer Mark Metcalf. Mark has one of the most important jobs in Frankfurt, keeping an eye on the Commonwealth's money. And that's a full-time job now, especially when government is finding some way to find at least $250 million in the budget. Treasurer Mark Metcalf.
Thank you for that warm Western Kentucky welcome. Thank you, St. Jerome's, for serving some of the best barbecue in the land and hosting the great Fancy Farm Picnic. When I ran for treasurer, I promised to put Kentucky families first and manage their money with the same common sense every Kentucky family lives by, and to return every dollar that belongs to them. I've worked every day to keep those promises. At the Treasury, my job isn't finding new ways to spend your money. My job is finding money you already own and getting it back to you. Since taking office, we've returned more than $117 million in unclaimed property. And we've returned it to Kentucky families and businesses. We know that the best check we can write is the one that lands in your own mailbox. We've traveled the Commonwealth. We meet Kentuckians, and we return their money. And we've done more. Through responsible investments, we've helped Kentuckians earn more than $1.7 billion. And it's helping Kentucky reduce its debts, meet its expenses, and save for tomorrow. We know that every debt paid down and every dollar earned is one less dollar needed from taxpayers. We're breaking old records, and we're setting new ones, and we're making changes. When I was a prosecutor, I didn't tolerate people skipping their child support or cheating crime victims, and I don't tolerate it today. When people who have unclaimed property coming to them also owe child support and crime restitution, we're making sure that those obligations are paid first. And we're doing even more. Our Stable Kentucky program allows disabled Kentuckians to create tax-free savings accounts so they can save for their own tomorrows and plan their own futures. We're making them more independent, and we're managing for them $27 million of their own money. There's one more thing we never forget. This isn't government's money, it's your money. Responsible government starts with respect. Respect for the people who work, who earn and save and pay taxes. They deserve a government that works just as hard as they do. And at the Treasury, we aim to deliver. Every candidate here will tell you about the future they want to build, and that's important. At the Treasury, we're focused on the future you want to build. Getting your money back to you is our commitment to that future. Thank you for allowing me to serve as your treasurer. God bless you. God bless Kentucky, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. We've already heard from the treasurer. Now it's time for the auditor. One who spends the money, the other asks where it went. When Allison Ball says, "I've got findings," half of Frankfurt suddenly develops vacation plans. Allison is the only person in Frankfurt who can ruin your day with one single spreadsheet. Please welcome Auditor Allison Ball.
Oh, it is great to be at Fancy Farm. It is an honor to stand before you. It is an even greater honor to be elected your state auditor, and I can't thank you enough for supporting me through 3 consecutive 20-point statewide victories against everyone the Democrats have thrown at me. You already know that I take rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse very seriously. Out here in the real world, we know that that's not the government's money, it's your money. And the Democrats just don't get that. I'm sure we all remember when Andy Beshear dressed up as Mr. Rogers for Halloween. A lot of folks on my side of the aisle mocked him for doing it, but I actually thought that was a pretty good costume for him. After all, on each Team Kentucky update in Andy Beshear podcast episode, he introduces the tens of people watching to his neighborhood of make-believe. I mean, seriously, Andy Beshear hosting a podcast about honest conversations is like Charles Booker or Amy McGrath hosting a podcast about winning a statewide election. It just doesn't work. Fortunately, no amount of make-believe will lead our governor to the White House. In a recent poll, AOC led the ballot with our Mr. Rogers, pulling an impressive 1%, setting himself well up for a cabinet appointment in her imaginary administration. It's always good to see Democrats show up for Fancy Farm. Their numbers on stage have increased at least 400% since last year. And as you've already seen, Charles Booker is here today and well on his way to his 3rd consecutive statewide election loss. Here's the lesson. Running as a communist in Kentucky doesn't work. In fact, as history has shown us time and time again, communism never works. Maybe he thinks 3rd time's the charm, but did he forget that he's running against Andy Barr? We'll take our Andy over their Andy every day of the week. Jacqueline Coleman and Rocky Atkins are also here today. And you may not know this, but in their spare time, they both manage a gas station in Frankfurt. For the last 6 years, they've dumped gasoline on every single dumpster fire blazing within the Beshear administration. Whether it's over $1 billion of wasted Kentucky taxpayer money, or less than half of all Kentucky students being proficient in any school subject, or ineligible immigrants getting public benefits and driver's licenses, Jacqueline and Rocky have fueled those fires every step of the way. But don't worry, you two. There are other perks for working in the Beshear administration, and I get it. It's hard for some people to turn down $7,000 limo rides in Germany, $300,000 VIP derby events, and a $1,000 dinner in Japan, all on the Kentucky taxpayer dime. With spending like that, no wonder Andy couldn't figure out how to use the $32 billion the General Assembly gave him to fully fund all the public benefits he has cut. Only in Andy Beshear's make-believe world can he convince people that he saved us from a Medicaid crisis of his own making. Oh, and Governor, we all know how much you love your dog. So much so that she is the only member of your family to have made the cover of your book. After your presidential campaign is over, though, you should get Winnie a sister. And I have the perfect name for her, Lucy. In closing, one last reminder, Governor, those of us who are actually proud to drink Ale 8 don't have to read the bottle like a script to know that it comes from Clark County, nor do we need a bottle opener to open its twist top. But then again, as a 9th-generation Eastern Kentuckian, I don't have the privileged hands of somebody who grew up with a silver spoon. Thank you very much, Fancy Farm.
Thank you, Allison. And coming up finally, Allison mentioned Eastern Kentucky. Shout out to some of my friends I met from Owsley County today and some kin that I've still got down in Viper, which for those of you who don't know, it's a bourbon hazard is what it is. Finally, while most politicians spend their time avoiding controversies, Secretary of State Michael Adams makes his living right in the middle of them. It's the easiest job in government. All he has to do is make sure every election is fair and be prepared to blame both the Republicans and the Democrats, usually before the polls are even open. He has said today that he has things on his mind and he has things to say, so please join me in welcoming Secretary of State Michael Adams.
Hello, Fancy Farm. Before I start, we should acknowledge someone who is not here with us today, but would give anything to be here with us today. Can we please have a moment of silence for Amy McGrath? We've got a big election coming up this November. Elections can be complicated, but really, every election comes down to two things: a winner and Charles Booker. Who's excited about Andy Barr? I am too. Andy Barr, or as I call him, the good Andy, is going to be an outstanding senator for Kentucky. Andy Barr is the perfect candidate to win this election. He's a strong conservative who won't back down from our values. But he understands that to win, we also need votes from common sense Democrats, like so many here in Western Kentucky where I grew up. If we only win our base, but we lose most other voters, we lose the election. We learned that lesson all too well in 2019 and in 2023. There's no education in the third kick of a mule, so let's get it right in 2027. The governor's race has already started. I'm going to stay out of the Democrats' primary, but I know one thing. With Rocky Atkins, we'll never have a scandal involving a hairdresser. Folks, we need a Republican governor. We need a proven conservative with a proven record of governing well and winning big. We need a governor who'll work with our legislators to solve our biggest challenges. Andy Beshear promised to improve education, but our kids' scores have gone down. Andy Beshear has competed with Gavin Newsom, not just for a presidential nomination, but to see who could close schoolhouse doors the longest. Under Andy Beshear, we now have a housing crisis. Our housing crisis is so bad, even the Kentucky Democratic Party is homeless. Friends, we cannot have a third term of Andy Beshear. And if we have a Governor Coleman or a Governor Atkins, we're likelier to have a President Bashir. If you don't want Andy Bashir in the White House, don't let him install his understudy in the governor's mansion. Republicans, we're going to have the fight of our lives in 2027. The Democrats are going to pull out all the stops to claw on to the one office they can still win. We absolutely have to nominate our strongest ticket. The first thing we must do to strengthen our chances is to avoid some messy primary where we all attack each other. Let the Democrats do that. I've said Republicans can't take any chances weakening our shot in 2027, and that goes for me too. I've dedicated my career to our beloved Republican Party, and the best thing I can do for my team is to call on all Republicans to join me in supporting James Comer to be our next governor. James Comer is not only the strongest candidate we'll have for governor, he's the best prepared to do the job. In 2027, let's stand with James Comer, and he will lead us to victory. Let's unite right now, and let's win next year. Fancy Farm, thank you for 7 great years, and you haven't heard the last of me. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Let's go win.
In the TV business, that's what we call a tease, but at least he kept everybody around till the end of the show, right? I just want to close up here with a few things. Again, thanks to all of our people who are sending this all around the state. Thanks to my folks at WKYT and Gray Television for allowing us to be involved in the public discussion, and hopefully we have done that today. I want to say one more thing. Renee Shaw, I know she was mentioned earlier. Man, has she left a legacy, and I feel like she's not done yet. So, folks, we've come to the end of our time together. I hope you've learned a little something today, because it's been about more than politics. It's about Kentucky. We may cheer for different teams, we may vote for different candidates, and we argue about everything. But at the end of the day, we're all pulling for the same Commonwealth. Tomorrow morning, these candidates will all still be your neighbors. You'll run into them in Frankfort, and you'll run into them at church, at the county fair. And again, a big thank you to St. Jerome Parish. One of the things that makes Kentucky different, we can argue like family, laugh like friends, and still leave here sharing warm wishes and barbecue. And before we step to have Stephen close things out, I'd like again to ask Steve Rudy, the House Floor Leader from McCracken County, to lead us in the singing of God Bless America.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, last month we did celebrate 250 years of our nation, and our Creator has